What is the difference between today's hookup culture and the free love movement of the 1960s?
Oh,
There's a lot of
basically,
differences.
all guys want now is coochie, and nobody wants that like real romance.
Nobody wants real
nothing,
love.
nothing.
Everyone wants-
And it's sad. It's sad.
It's
That's
really
the whole
sad.
point. It's sad.
I feel like the free love movement in the 60s, it was more about love and loving everyone. Now, hookup culture, it's more about lust. And basically just, what can you get and judging. And I don't know, I feel like freedom of love was more beautiful in the 60s, and now it's about what you can get and lust.
In the 1960s, I'll tell you what, I was at Haight-Ashbury, the Summer of Love, 1967, before I got shipped overseas. And it was the coolest place. Everybody was cool. Everybody was laid back. Everybody was loving. I mean, the women were awesome. They didn't care who you were. If you just wanted to sit and talk, they would. The guys would do the same thing. If you didn't have anything, they'd give you something. And today's culture, everybody's hooking up. They're looking for love, but they're not finding it. We had it. Everybody loved everybody, and it was very, very, very cool. And that was the best summer of my life. So if we can go, we're Generation X. That means we don't give a shit. But but in 1967 at Haight-Ashbury, I slept in the park that night with a whole bunch of people, and everybody got stoned except me because I don't do that. But and we had a wonderful, wonderful time, and just talking about every little thing. We weren't trying to fix the world. We weren't trying to hook up with anybody. And if you saw somebody you liked, you say, "Hey, baby, come on over here," and she just walk right over there.
So, how did we go from that movement to today when women need to be compensated for their time and attention? In other words, we went from free love to pay to play, transactional.
Right. It's because social media said that's what they should have. So they grow up with a sense of entitlement, and they want, it's like, yeah, I'll talk to you, but you're going to buy me dinner, and you're going to do this, you're going to do that.
Because men think that they rule the world and they can have it all while making women slave under them. So I need to be compensated for everything that I do.
How did we go from love and friendship to game, seduction, and manipulation?
Because that's what men deserve.
Women, because women I feel like are very entitled these days. I feel like their standards are way too fucking high, for sure.
They turn into money mongers, and now it's all about the money. They don't care about the people anymore. They just want money.
Pay her. Pay for that girl.
Why did the women of the past care less about money when they were more dependent on a man for money?
I think because there wasn't as many opportunities for women, and I think
it was normalized. Like, women were meant to have a family, birth kids, cook, clean, and they didn't work. But now that we're more in an independent society, women are expected to work and provide for themselves, so they're doing it any way that they can.
Women are just more vocal about maybe what they want from a man. So like if it is money or gifts or something, they're probably, I feel like, just being out front now rather than back in the day. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we just more upfront now.
women now are just more vocal, and they're surrounded by more women themselves. They were probably just surrounded by, their fathers, their brothers, their husbands, so they didn't have somebody to share, to talk to,
Why didn't women of the past all think they were queens with delusional dating requirements for men?
Because other women put that in other women's head, not realizing that's their standards, not yours.
How could this be considered female nature if it's changed?
Because it's not. I don't think all females are the same, personally.
I don't think it's their nature at all. I don't think none of the behavior of right now today is their actual nature. I think it's new habits and new nature from the new way that they live life, evolving and things like that, but I don't think this is natural at all.
I don't think they've ever been delusional. I think a woman wants what she wants. And if it's money and a successful man, then it be that. If it's someone that just, does the bare minimum, makes her happy, then it's that. I think all women have always thought differently throughout time. It's just a lot of more women can communicate their opinions, and the ones that are very strong-willed and out there and outspoken are the ones that want more,
If you are a man and you are broke, you should be embarrassed and you should be doing everything in your power to get up in the morning and get rich. You want to know, let's do a little analogy, right? Crackheads, they wake up in the morning and they will do everything in their power to smoke crack and get tweaked out by the end of the night. So if you are a man and you're broke and you do not get up and think, oh wow, I need to do something to make money today, you are pathetic because even a crackhead could do it. So you're actually just, you're dusty then. So then a crackhead's smarter than you, so you don't know what you're doing.
Why didn't the men of the past need to learn game in order to attract a woman?
Oh, that's a good question. Maybe they did have game and we just didn't know. Maybe they had something like, you know, the old-timey riz and we don't know about it.
I think because getting married to somebody was probably just really common. You find someone, you say you love them, maybe you do truly love them, and you just get married. Times are different.
Why wasn't slut shaming an issue during the free love movement of the 1960s?
I feel like because there wasn't a lot that you can do in the 1960s. I mean, like, maybe wear a short skirt. I feel like now, like, things have changed a lot and you can show a lot and get away with it. So slut shaming has become more normal, but I mean, it's not okay. Like, I feel like everything has become normalized. Like, you should just be able to be yourself and wear whatever you want.
If today's society is seen as more degenerate, why is there more slut shaming today than there was back then?
That's a great question because I feel like society has made like sluts who they are, I guess. Like, I don't know, like they say that they like call people sluts, but then they want people to wear less clothes and be more provocative, whatever. I don't know.
I feel like social media. I feel like really social media is like everybody has their own opinion, and on social media on our phones we can communicate it. Back then people had their opinions, but they weren't able to like really butt into other people's lives as much as we can nowadays.
We were just laid back, man. I mean, because we came out of the 50s where everything was pretty rigid, and then we just kind of said, screw it, screw the man. We're just going to lay back, man, and we're not going to do anything we don't want to do. If we don't want to do it, we're not going to do it. And there's plenty of women out there. There's plenty of cool guys out there, you know, and we had really cool parties and, you know, and it wasn't about money. Money meant nothing. It meant nothing, man.
So why do people insist that things will never change when history has proven that things have already changed?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's changed a lot. I don't like it. You know, I'm out here doing my thing for the veterans, but I don't know what the hell's going on. But everybody's kind of mean, and they're not going to do anything for nothing. And so, you know, it's really messed up. So if I were to do it over again, I'd go right back to 1967.
I mean, I wasn't around back then, but I guess it was like really shamed back then. Now it's just hookup culture. There is no dating in 2024.
If women weren't slut shamed and were actually celebrated for being a slut, do you think they'd still play hard to get?
Yes, because I think that realistically everybody has a guard up, and at some point everybody's going to play hard to get.
Do you think they would still play hard to get?
Yes, it's a part of the game. It's a part of the seduction game.
Could it be because women use sex to get power?
Of course.
A lot of women, they want to be more confident. They want to be more in control of their body. So I don't think that they would be more easy, if that makes sense.
Is the main reason women don't want to be easy is because they don't want to be shamed? Or could it be that they don't want to relinquish their sexual power over men?
I think they don't want to relinquish their power. They want to have their own power. I think that's why, yeah.
They don't want to relinquish their sexual power. Ladies, you hold everything in your seduction. You push a man until he has no more.
So are women more interested in love or power?
Power.
I want love and power. I want to be in love, but I also want to be in control as well.
During the 1960s, where were all the liabilities and consent issues associated with sex like there is today?
Ooh, where were they?
There was no Me Too movement back then, so a man didn't have to worry about consent being pulled. It was on the spot, and everybody was cool with it, and everybody went on about their business after everything was said and done.
That changed everything. I don't think they had certain laws and things in place back then. I don't think a lot of stuff. I think men had more control then, so I think that's what changed. They gave them a lot of freedom, which is fine, but it changed their attitude and their way of thinking.
Why are 33% of today's men lonely and sexless as opposed to back during the free love movement?
The porn addiction.
If women had a female nature, wouldn't incels have always been a problem?
True, yeah.
Maybe it's because the standards have kind of changed. I know a lot of people look for certain things in men, like they want this height, this face, this style, and so maybe it's become a lot more selective to this group of men who appeal to women, in contrast where it was kind of everybody kind of fit the standard a little more.
I think the requirements of today are different than back in the love movement. I think women now, instead of it being a man's physicality or a man's mind, is a man's money. So now if you don't have money or some type of benefit a woman can get from you, I feel like that's what's leaving that big percentage, because their mind have changed over what they will give you from what they receive from you.
What is hoflation?
I don't know. Hoflation?
Hoflation? I guess that's like an inflation in hoes. I feel like every woman is a hoe, and if you are, be proud of it.
Why do modern men have to work 5 times harder than their grandfathers did for women 20 times worse than what their grandmothers were?
Because back then, women didn't appreciate themselves and they wanted to be a slave to a man.
I mean, maybe they should stop choosing women 20 times worse than their grandmothers. I think that's a good place to start.
If women have a female nature, how is hoflation even an issue?
Hoflation is just a term. We have divine femininity.
Oh, maybe? Okay, it could be having to do with like inflation. You know, things cost a lot more now. Luxury lifestyles are in. Everyone wants to be living that social media lifestyle. And so, you know, they want to have a man who can support that lifestyle without having to work. And I think it was more normalized just to be a housewife and not to go on trips and to get fancy cars and stuff. So maybe it was more just a different lifestyle. So that's why.
We are way more superior than you guys. Without women, men wouldn't exist. So you guys are actually nothing. Because without us, you're useless. You wouldn't even be born. Okay? And all men, whether you were with them for 10 years or not, will cheat and lie. So it doesn't really matter.
Are you attracted to men at all, or?
Am I? Yes. Well, I'm bisexual, yeah. I was actually with a man for 10 years. We just broke up like about a year ago, so.
Why are today's women so filled with hatred towards men, yet they will still engage with men for attention and resources?
Because women are desperate sometimes. Not me, though.
Because everybody needs to survive. Everyone needs to survive, period. But I think it's scarier for women nowadays just because there's a lot of different energies, like male energies. And as a woman, I can say I'd choose the bear any day.
It's a love-hate relationship. Like, if you hate it, you still got to be about it.
Because a man is going to provide me what I allow him and want him to, whether I give him what he wants or not. It's all about the power of seduction.
How do you think the world would be different if sex was free?
Well, for me it is. Because I'm Elvis. You know, I'm 75 years old, man. And if you want to see if this guy can still do it. But it was free back then. You know, anybody, anytime, anywhere. You know, a lot of it, we didn't have any diseases or anything like that. It was like, if it feels good, do it.
Do you think the sexual liberation has ultimately benefited society, and if so, how?
That's a lot of words, and I don't know the answer to that question.
It didn't get any kind of, it didn't get nothing good from this. Is the saying goes, like, why buy the milk when you can get the cow for free? It's just being given away, so you don't even have to put in work for it no more.
We are more sexually liberated in the sense of it's okay to be gay, it's okay, you know, to have sex with whoever you want. However, I think that there is significantly more slut shaming, but I think it's in a different way. I think that before it was more societally ingrained, you know, keep an aspirin between your knees, oh, you have to, you know, wear skirts, be virginal, all that. So in a way, that was like slut shaming, you know, except it was more the preach of abstinence. I think versus now, it's a lot more, people are a lot more open about having sex. You know, before in the, you know, the 60s or whatever, they wouldn't even say had sex. They'd be like, oh, spend the night. Did you spend the night? So I feel like now it's something where people are a lot more open about sex. They're a lot more open about the details of sex. So I think that the slut shaming is a lot more easy because if you're saying everything that you're doing, then it's probably easier versus then it was like, oh, I was impure last night, you know, something like that. Yeah.
As long as you're knowledgeable and you're safe about it and you're intentional, there's nothing wrong with being a sexual being. But if you're lying about it and being deceitful and doing it for selfish reasons, then I think there is an issue in it.
Why are women so quick to accept a woman who can sell sex, but are quick to shame a man who can buy it?
Because low-key, they want to be in relationships with men, but once you break that and you realize that that's not what these men want and they want multiple women, you'll realize that it's okay, baby, get yours too.
How do you think the world would be different if all sex was free and without shame?
I think the world would be way, way better. Everybody, like, shame wouldn't exist if sex was as accepted, you know, if everybody accepted it, like no one would feel the shame.
I think there probably would be a lot more love, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe there would be a lot more hate. Or maybe there would be a lot more grotesque people. I don't really know. I don't really know what would happen. I mean, the world is a pretty sexual place right now, whether people like it or not.
I believe that we'd have better relationships because we would accept that that's just a part of human nature and who we are. You know what I mean? Like, you see a hot girl in the street, you're like, oh my God, she's gorgeous. I want to get to know her. I mean, you'd want to, you know, get into some sexual relations with her. And it is what it is. And like, again, it goes back to the way we've evolved as human beings. We have social media. We have, you know, different ways of making money and bartering and all this type of things. At this point, it's kind of just a service, right? Because we're the only mammals on Earth that have sex for fun.